We have something really freaking exciting to announce for all you listeners of the Fiercely Visible CEO podcast. As a huge thank you for tuning in every week, for sending us lovely DMs and tagging us on Instagram, I want to start this little thing, which is leave a review for a chance to win free coaching. Simple as that. All you have to do is tune into the podcast, listen to some of our episodes, and then go ahead and subscribe and leave a review for a chance to win. Now, I do want you to keep in mind when you go ahead and write the review, make sure you take a screenshot first and then submit. So that way, in order to be entered, what you'll have to do is send the copy of that screenshot on Instagram. You can DM me directly at Steph Wharton _ and we'll go ahead and enter you for a chance to win free coaching with me. The way you'll find out is roughly every 2 months, we'll compile all of the entries and we'll go ahead and reach back out to the winner. We may even announce it on Instagram, actually. That might be more exciting. Okay, with that said, don't forget to go ahead, review us, send us a screenshot, and good luck. Welcome to the Fiercely Visible CEO podcast. I'm your host, Steph Wharton. Join me as we dive into how to become a wildly in-demand CEO that prioritizes balance between life and business, isn't afraid of making the scary decisions that get you results you actually care about, and unapologetically breaks the rules to build the business and life of your dreams. One of the questions that I get a lot is how do I book speaking opportunities / visibility opportunities, right? This can be anything from getting invited to be interviewed inside of somebody's podcast. It could be guest speaking inside of somebody's group coaching program or a mastermind or even like a membership, and showing up to either coach, do a special training, or anything where you're there to support somebody else's community. Or it could be something like speaking at a summit or speaking at an in-person event. Those are all different ways in which I have spoken / been visible and educated other people on different topics. And that through those, I've been able to further build my authority. So people wonder, like, how do you get those opportunities? Because it is almost like trying to find clients, right? Like when you're first starting your business, it can feel like you spend so much of your day trying to find them, looking through social media, trying to reach out and network with other people. And it feels like there's a lot of legwork that goes into it in order to finally find the people and then land them as paying clients. However, as you grow and get better with your marketing and attraction marketing in particular, and you start to stand out in the online space or wherever it is that you're showing up, it becomes easier because now it's not a matter of you going out and looking for potential clients. It changes the dynamic so that people start coming to you. And that's the reason why speaking and landing clients can sometimes feel similar, because when people first start to get into the whole speaking space where they want to land all those cool interviews and they want to collaborate with other people and they want to be seen as a leader that is worthy of being invited into all these different communities in order to speak and to teach and to just share their knowledge, it can feel hard because it's like, how do I get invited? Even if you're really freaking good at what you do, like, you know it. You have worked with so many different clients and your clients are obsessed with you. They love the level of support that you provide them. Like if you're a coach, they are starting to see amazing results. They feel like they can really rely on you, whether it's through calls, through Voxer message, and they know that whenever they reach out, they're going to get really good guidance and support through you. But that's your clients. How about everybody else, whether it's the rest of your community or on Instagram or even beyond that? How do you build that recognition so that people start inviting you and so that people start reaching out and going, hey, so-and-so, I would love to have you interviewing in my podcast. I think you have such a cool freaking story to share, and my audience would love to hear your perspective and learn a little bit more about your journey and why it is that you're so good at what you do. Now, there's a lot of different things that you can do in order to start building that recognition and that awareness around the fact that you are a good speaker and that you have a cool story or cool experiences and successes and wins to share. But there's one really cool one, a cool factor that can allow you to start getting more of those invites. And I feel like it's going to be something, I don't know if unexpected, but different. It's probably not the first thing that comes to mind. And it is the fact that creating good trainings and good speaking experiences is going to bring about more opportunities. And as you're hearing this, you're probably starting to think like, oh, that's actually pretty damn obvious, isn't it? Because it's, again, such a similar correlation between speaking and clients. When you deliver a good client experience, it is more likely that you are going to have, one, repeat clients coming back to work with you time and time again. And two, it is more likely that they're going to spread the good word about what it's like to work with you, with their friends and the rest of their community, so that referrals start coming in. So speaking can work in the exact same way. All it takes is to get your foot in the door. So to, for example, pitch yourself and invite yourself into those spaces and those opportunities to be interviewed and to speak in summits, group programs, etc. And when you start to do that, you start to naturally build that reputation. You start to put yourself in situations and spaces where people go, holy freaking shit, that was a really cool thing that you just said. I'm going to go ahead and start taking action. I'm going to implement that inside of my business because I've never really experienced or thought of that unique perspective that you just shared. So what you're doing is you're creating impact. You are impacting people's lives and businesses. So now people that are listening to you, people that are interviewing you, people that are just running into you in the online space or even in person are going, holy freaking shit, they're really cool. I want to interview them too. I want them to be teaching my own community about that topic because they have either a unique perspective or really like cool personality or just a really great delivery. Whatever it might be, it's something that is, I don't know if important's definitely not the right word, but it is something that's capturing their attention and is making them want to reach out, which is what we're trying to do. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this, and I'm going to go a little bit more specific into it, it's because within the last couple of months, I've been talking a lot about what I have coming up inside of my own business in terms of collaborations and strategic partnerships. So for context, if you haven't seen me speak about this before, for the next 2 months, I have roughly 6 different partnerships that I'm going to be taking a part in. Now, for some people, that might seem like a lot. For some, that might be like, that's no freaking big deal. Like, I've done like 10 in 2 months. I've done 20. Like, who cares, right? So it really depends on your experience and how much you dive into speaking and partnering up with other people. So let's see if I can share some of these off the cuff because I'm sorry, but I did not make a list of any of this. So I might forget what some of these visibility opportunities are. But let's see, bear with me. Let's hope we can get to 6. I have 3 summits coming up that I'll be speaking in. I have a guest speaking opportunity inside of a mastermind. I have an in-person speaking opportunity that I'll be doing next month. That brings us to 5. And the 6th one, I have a strategic partnership with somebody in the online space. We're in the process of creating a brand new offer together, which we're going to be releasing within the next 2 months, probably. So there you go. I was able to remember all 6. So those are 6 different visibility opportunities that I am participating in within 2 months. So I've had people go like, holy freaking shit. How did you manage to put all that together? Like, what does that even look like? And how did you get invited to speak in so many different events and coaching containers? And I say invited because let's look at the summit speaking gigs on their own. 3 summits within 2 months. 2 of those, I was personally invited to speak on visibility, on my area of expertise. While the third one, I was actually saved a spot because my presentation last year was one of the best ones. So they had already put a spot aside for me and sent through an invitation to see if I was interested in joining again. That is what happens when your presentations are so impactful. And I want to share with you why they're so impactful. But first, I want to give you a little bit of context. So, I've had different people comment different things. Of course, just because some people say that your presentation's amazing or your interview was so insightful, it doesn't mean that it's the best thing ever. Like, my ego is not this like massive like balloon flying up in the sky, right? Like, no. Let's be humble here. There's always going to be people that will listen to whatever it is that you're going to say. It could be one of you listening to me right now and be like, that's not that cool. That's not that great. Or I knew that already. And that's fine. You can't make everybody happy. And that's okay, because put those people aside that I'm sure they would benefit from listening to somebody else, a different leader in the online space who's going to inspire them and motivate them and teach them a lot. Everybody else is going to learn something from you or is going to be inspired or motivated, etc. So for those people that are tuning in, that are watching your presentations, that are learning from you, we show up for them. That's why we do what we do. So in different scenarios, in different speaking opportunities that I've found myself in, I've had different people, whether it was attendees who would reach out and be like, holy shit, like yours was a presentation that inspired me to actually act. It was the one that got me to hit the ground running and dive deep into my business and redo everything so that I could implement strategies that felt more aligned. I've had people tell me that they have been in their industry, in growing their business for 20 years, and they had never heard that perspective and that strategy that I had shared. So those messages like that, they are incredible. Like, I'm so damn grateful for the fact that people feel called to actually reach out and share their experience with me and to share the fact that they've enjoyed certain aspects. I've had even a host go ahead and reach out and let me know that my presentation had been the best one of the day, that had generated the most engagement, and that people were actually taking action. They were sending in whatever, I was going to call it testimonials because that's what I use them for, but they were sending in like kind words and be like, oh, this was so good. And they were starting like all these different conversations and taking action and implementing the work inside of their business as the presentation was happening. So it's really freaking cool to hear from both like attendees, from people you're collaborating with, from the hosts of these events, to go, hey, your presentation was really freaking good, or your presentation was the best one at that event, when there's over 30 different leaders in a similar industry as yours who are all speaking in front of like over 6,000 different people, and yours is the one that stands out. So humble brag over here, right? I want to share with you why I've been told multiple times that my presentation was the best one. So this is where the answer is going to surprise you. It's not because my presentation was mind-blowingly different and unique. It's not because my presentation was gorgeous and so well organized and one of the best presentations from a strategic standpoint that people had ever seen. It's not because I'm the smartest person in the room. It's not because I have the most experience. Like, when I look at all these other 30 plus leaders that I'm speaking alongside, there's so many of them that are potentially smarter than me, that definitely have more years and more skin in the game than I do, that are definitely making more money than I am, that definitely have had more clients, that definitely have a stronger brand and reputation, and that are like big names in the industry. So I'm not better than them. I will never say that I'm better than them. But the reason people really resonate with my presentations and the reason why they end up being so memorable and they bring people to either want me to speak at their events again or invite me to speak in different events, or just the fact that the people attending and listening to these presentations want to follow along with my journey and continue to build and have some sort of relationship with me, it's because my presentations are so fucking chill. That is literally the answer. That is why I've been told multiple times that my presentation is the best presentation at said events. It's because when I go ahead and I speak, and whether I record it or I do it live, I don't give a shit. Like, I am literally just myself. I let it be like super imperfect. Like, if I put an error in it where I either stumble through my words or I say something wrong and then I have to like laugh and like backtrack for a second, I leave it in the presentation. Like, I don't go back and edit what I put together. I don't put pressure on it to be perfect. I don't feel bad about it either. Like, you might notice this already inside of my podcast, right? Like, pay attention to some of the episodes that I'm launching, that I'm putting out there. They're not perfect. Like, I literally just laugh at myself and I'm like, fuck, like I said that wrong, or like that was the wrong word, or maybe it was the right word, or maybe it was the wrong one. I didn't even notice. And I just kind of keep going and I'm like, shit, like that was totally not like proper English. But who cares? Because at the end of the day, the point still gets across. My passion even gets across. Sometimes when we try and be so perfect and do things the right way, we end up sounding so monotone, slash maybe it's not even monotone, but the energy isn't there, right? The personality isn't there. And when you remove the passion, the personality, then it feels a little bit flat and people don't resonate with it as much. They don't feed off of your energy. I actually am going to go on a bit of a tangent just now. I remembered a course that I had created. It was either like one lesson in a course or it was an entire course. I can't remember, but in essence, I had recorded something, I put it together. It was brilliant. Like, the content in there was so transformational for what the course was about. And I had a bunch of people go through it. I wanted to have a couple beta testers to run through the content and give me constructive feedback and criticism. So let me know, like, what do you think of the lessons? What do you think of my presentation style? What do you think of the experience overall? And I had them submit this little like questionnaire kind of thing. Through that experience, I actually had this one person who had already known me for several months and had attended a lot of my live presentations and had been essentially coached by me in a free setting. I used to have a Facebook group, that's why. So they knew what I was like. They went through my course and they came back with feedback and they're like, look, it was awesome. Like, I actually learned so freaking much, but like, that wasn't really you. Like, it was really, I don't think they said stiff, but essentially what they meant, they were probably trying to be nice and like soften the blow, but they're like, it was kind of stiff and dry. Like, you were just like sitting still. And I was like, yeah, because I didn't tell them this, but I'm like, yeah, because it was professional. Like, it was well recorded and edited and it looked good. So at the time, for that split second, I almost not took offense, but I was almost like took it personally. I was like, what do you mean? Like, it was perfect. Like, that's literally what it should be like. That's what every other course I take looks like. But that wasn't a good thing. Just because it was on paper perfect, and just because that's what everybody else in the online space was doing, doesn't mean that was either the right thing or, more specifically, the right thing for me. It actually ended up being a downside, so to speak. It didn't allow me to show up as my best self. It didn't allow me to show up all quirky and weird and fun and silly and super interactive. Like, if you were to look at me right now, I keep using my hands every now and then. Like, that's the kind of energy, that's the personal brand that people need to be able to see in order for you to some extent, to just stand out. But more importantly, to deliver content in a more impactful way. So, coming off that tangent, that's why my presentations are so fucking amazing now. It's because I'm just myself. I leave the errors in. I literally just have fun throughout it and then hit finish record. And unless I like really messed it up, that's it. I finish recording or finish presenting, submit the damn thing, and I move on. Essentially, what I'm doing is I'm not overcomplicating things, and I'm making my business really freaking easy. Now, not all things are easy. I totally understand that. Like, maybe, especially as you are shedding all these things that you've been conditioned into doing, like being perfect, recording things and making sure that you say everything in the right way and the right tone and at the right pace, and that you look good and that you're looking at the camera and that you're smiling and that you have the right outfit and all those kind of things. There's so many things that we're conditioning ourselves, and we've been conditioned this way for years, like for our entire lifetime, that as you slowly shed those, it's going to be a little bit hard because you're going to potentially subconsciously slip back into these old habits. So for a second, as you're shedding that old persona, that old self, and you are refinding yourself and as you truly are, without all these, I don't even know what to call them, but without all these qualities that you have added on, all these layers and all this like fakeness almost, until that happens, yeah, it's going to take a second and it's going to be a little bit of work. But once you reach that moment, that space, I guess. See, I'm losing words and this is what I mean when I just don't give a shit, but I'm losing the words that I'm trying to find. In any case, once you reach that moment and you're in that place where you're truly just being yourself and you're not giving a shit anymore, things become so much easier. And at that point, the only thing that's quote unquote hard is, okay, yeah, you're still gonna work hard. It doesn't have to be hard, but you're gonna work hard because you give a shit about your clients and you give a shit about your community. So yes, you are going to bust your ass off. You're going to work really hard to serve them. You're going to work really hard to be there to deliver the best experience in terms of just delivering the service, delivering the transformation, and making sure that they are being fully supported. But other than that, again, you're just having fun. So other than making sure you're giving value and that things are relatively impactful, the rest, I'm just going to be my most imperfect and dorkiest self, because at the end of the day, real, genuine relationships is going to be what sells. And that's the only thing that matters, because I don't want people working with me or following me on social media, let's say, because I have a perfectly curated feed, or because I have a perfectly curated personality, or because I have a perfectly curated content. That's not why I want people to hire me. I want to work with folks who feel really comfortable with me, who feel comfortable being themselves, who feel comfortable opening up and telling me what they're really thinking, what they really desire, what they really want to do in their life and business. I want to be able to have a much deeper relationship so that they can have a much deeper transformation and a much better experience, and then walk away through our experience working together feeling like they are on the right path and like they're all of a sudden building their best freaking life and business. I don't want people to think that I'm better than them because all they see is this perfectly curated highlight reel. Like, screw anybody being better than anybody. We're all literally the same, all on our own journey. We just have different perspectives and different things that we are just really freaking good at. So we can all learn from each other. I can learn from my clients. They can learn from me. I can learn from somebody that I'm speaking alongside that is making like 5 times the amount of money that I am, and they can learn something from me. And that's a cool fucking thing when you let go of comparison, when you let go of the pressure to succeed and to land clients and to do all these things. Instead, you just show up to be yourself, to have fun, to serve. And people catch on to that. People notice, and regardless of who's better than who, they go, holy freaking shit, you have some cool wicked ass energy and you have some like a really cool story / you're really good at XYZ. I want you to teach my community that, because maybe I know that, maybe I don't, but the way that you deliver it is really fucking impactful. So I want you to come speak on that. And that's when you become the go-to leader in the online space on your area of expertise. That's it for this week's episode of the Fiercely Visible CEO podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @StephWharton_ for more valuable content. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts.